Hi everybody. So I have one of my eggplants that grew in the tray. I think I was showing this in another episode, but so there's an eggplant. Yeah, it was the episode about how do roots grow in a ball all the time, something like that. So because these roots are restricted to the pot I grew them in, I can see more the whole root system that plant developed while it was in the pot. Remember, it's not while it's in the soil, so it's still not gonna develop totally. But I'm wondering if you can see this. I hope you can. I'm trying to use the black tarp again, so I'm rinsing it off because the roots of this plant, when it grows in a tray, it doesn't have a chance to spread out into the soil, so it gets sort of stuck, but it still grows quite a lot of roots. I'm gonna give it one more rinse, so you can see it there. Some more. You can see some of the particles really sticking to it, but this is working out great. So, I think it looks better with the black background, but you can see all the roots clumped together here. Okay, but there's lots of roots. Look at all those. It's quite a tangle. Okay, now the reason I wanted to wash this one off, knowing that there would be a whole lot of roots, is somebody asked, how do the roots actually grow? Okay, so we know that they need water, they need to be in the soil, and they need the nutrients from the soil. So that's what they need, but how do they actually grow? So if you look at these ones, that's actually really hard to look at them. They're all so tangled up. So I'm gonna spread them out a little bit so you can kind of imagine it's spreading out. So there we go. So it's now spread out the top here. And where roots grow is at the very tip, okay? So there's a part at the very tip that's the growing part, or that it's developing, it's multiplying, okay? And then just after, and this is down really, really small, almost to the spots where maybe these ones haven't ripped out because they're still there. So these are root hairs. The root hairs are where the root feeds. So this one doesn't have a main root, but you have seen in other episodes about roots, the taproot of the dandelion, which is like, it's kind of the anchor or the thing that holds it in place. It does do some feeding, but the feeding happens at the root hairs. Okay, and so another way of thinking of the roots is, I'm gonna take some of my kale flowers here. So there's a kale bed with a whole bunch of flowers. Maybe this angle's better with the sun. So there's the kale bed behind me. So I'm going to collect seed, and you can see the pods are developing for the seed. But imagine this as, so I'll hold it up maybe against the sky works. Imagine this as the very tip of the root. Okay, so the root gets small, small, small. Like, imagine this is like we are giants, right? Or sorry, we are not giants, we're the opposite of giants. We're like an ant looking at the root. So imagine this is the very tip of the root from the white roots that I showed you on the eggplant. Well, the water can only get into those little branches, okay? There's little tiny openings in the root tips, okay? Near the root tip that allows the plant to absorb the water and the nutrients it needs from the soil. Okay, another way of thinking of it is, imagine your head is like the tip of a root. So you're going through the soil, right? You're growing like a root. So you're growing. That's something you're experiencing. But imagine you're a root in the soil, and only your head can take in the nutrients. Well, it's only going to fit in your mouth then. Just like as a human being, we don't go and eat. If we want to have a chicken sandwich, we don't go get a chicken. I'm trying to eat the whole thing because it's too big and that's gross. But you can only eat what's going to fit in your mouth. And same with plants. They can only absorb the nutrients that are small enough to be in the water that the plant is drinking, okay? So it's so small, not something we can look at with our eye. We would need a high-powered microscope to see that actually happening, so where the plant's taking in the nutrients. But back to how they grow. So the very as close to the tip of the root ends that you can find, that's where the growing part of the root is happening. Okay, and I hope that was helpful.